Today's learning target is to find the volume of a cylinder. You will be able to use a formula to find the volume of a cylinder, and you can use the formula for the volume of a cylinder to find a missing dimension. What is volume? Volume is the amount of three-dimensional space occupied by an object. Volume can also be referred to as capacity. Volume of cylinders. To find the volume of a cylinder, multiply the area of the base by the height of the cylinder. The formula can be written as V is equal to B times H. Describe each variable. V represents volume of the cylinder. Capital B represents the area of the base. And lowercase h represents the height, also the distance between the bases. The base of a cylinder will always be a circle. So to find the area of the base, use the formula pi times r squared. Let's do some example problems. Find the volume of each cylinder. Round to the nearest tenth. Our formula for a cylinder is V is equal to pi times r squared times height. It's pi r squared instead of the letter B because our base is a circle. Plug in our values. Our value, we're going to keep the pi symbol and we're going to multiply that to r squared. Our radius is 6, so 6 squared, and our height from top to bottom is 4. From here, all you have to do is go onto your calculator, find the pi symbol, multiply the radius squared, so in parentheses 6 squared, and in parentheses 4, and hit enter. You're going to get 452.38. That 8 is going to round the 3 in the tenth space to a 4, and it's inches cubed. For number 2, again, we have a cylinder, so our formula is V is equal to pi times r squared times height. Plug in our values. So we have pi, and we're looking for our radius, and we'll notice that the radius that was given to us is the diameter because it's from one end to the other of a circle. So we're going to take our diameter and divide it by 2, and that's going to give us our radius, which is 4. So pi times 4 squared times our height, which is 10 of our cylinder. Plug it into your calculator, find your pi symbol, in parentheses 4 squared times 10. And you're going to get 502.65. That 5 in the hundredth space is going to round the 6 to 7 centimeters cubed. To leave an answer in terms of pi means to multiply everything except for the pi symbol and simply leave the pi symbol in your solution. So for example, number 4, find the volume of each cylinder below, both in terms of pi and rounded to the nearest tenth. So in terms of pi, for the formula, we would do pi times r squared, so our radius is 10, and our height is 15.2. So when we leave in terms of pi, we don't multiply the pi symbol, we keep it there, and all you're doing is 10 squared, which is 100, times 15.2 to get 1,520. Typically, and you will, need to keep the pi symbol after the number because the number is going to be a coefficient to the pi symbol. So pi goes after the number. Millimeters cubed. Now to get your answer from the nearest tenth from the pi symbol, now you just do 1,520 times the pi symbol, and you're going to get 4,775.2 rounded to the nearest tenth. For number 5, in terms of pi, you have pi times the radius squared times height. Our radius is not given to us, it's the diameter. So take half of 16, which is 8. So we have pi times 64, because 8 squared is 64, times 7. So you're going to do 64 times 7 in your calculator. And in terms of pi, it's 448 times pi. From 448, you're going to take that and multiply it to pi. And you're going to get 1,407.4 inches cubed. Use what you've learned about the volume of cylinders to answer each question below. The area of the base of a cylinder is 150 square inches. If the volume of the cylinder is 1,050 inches cubed, what is the height of the cylinder? So we're looking at volume of a cylinder, pi times r squared times the height. They told us the area of the base of a cylinder is 150 square inches. We know that pi r squared represents the base of our cylinder, so we can replace the entire pi r squared with 150. If the volume of the cylinder is 1,050 cubic inches, we can replace the volume with 1,050. What is the height of the cylinder? Well, all we have left in our formula is h, so we're solving for h. To get h by itself, we're going to do the inverse operation of multiplication by dividing, because 150 h means 150 times h. And when we do 1,050 divided by 150, you're left with 7 is equal to h. Therefore, the height of our cylinder is 7 inches. Number 8, the volume of a cylinder is 942 cubic feet. If the height of the cylinder is 12 feet, what is the radius of the cylinder? Again, we're going to start with our formula. Volume is equal to pi r squared times height. They gave us the volume of our cylinder to be 942, so we're going to replace V with 942. They gave us the height of the cylinder, which is 12. So pi r squared times h, which is 12. What is the radius of the cylinder? So we have to solve for r. In order to do that, we're going to divide each side by 12 first to eliminate the height. 942 divided by 12 is 78.5 equals pi r squared. In this situation, we're going to divide both sides by 3.14 to eliminate pi. If you divide by 3.14, 78.5 divided by 3.14 gives you 25. Pi will replace the 3.14 and you're left with r squared. To find r from r squared, we have to take the square root of 25 on both sides. The square root of 25 is 5, and the square root of r squared is r, which means our radius is 5 feet. We divided 3.14 for this situation because in this problem, if you do 78.5 divided by the pi symbol, it gives you 24.98, which rounds to the nearest perfect square of 25. Therefore, if you take just 3.14, it's easier to work with the square root of 25 rather than the square root of 24.9. In this lesson, we learned to find the volume of a cylinder, use the formula volume is equal to pi times r to the second power times h. To find the missing dimensions, radius, or height of a cylinder, substitute the known values into the formula and solve the equation for that dimension. That's a wrap on this video. We will see you on the next one.